Well, if you've never seen a demon-possessed individual, you're about to.
No, I will never acknowledge that. Never put those words in my mouth.
Male? Why?
Never put it in my mouth.
Well, I'm not putting it. I'm putting it in my mouth.
Take it out.
Just remember.
I am not male.
No, you're being
I am not. I don't give a.
and hated.
I am not male. I am a woman. I am her wife. You worthless shrew. Get out of my face.
Sure you are, Cupcake. Just wait until you see the rest of it. We've got that and more coming up. Welcome back to Sara Gonzales Unfiltered, coming to you live from the tundra. I am Sara Gonzales. I'm not kidding. Steven, it is too cold in here. Look, I had to wear my Sasquatch boots. And even then, my feet are still slightly cold. Can you do something about this, Steven?
Yeah, I'll set the building on fire afterwards, and maybe that'll help.
It would be much warmer if you did that. This is a hostile work environment, I'm just saying. So let's go over to Minnesota for a second, okay? Sometimes there are things in life that are so broken, they just need a hard reset, right? Like it just needs a clean slate, hard reset. We've been saying that about the H-1B visas, right? Like we just have to just shut it all down until we can reset and come back correctly. And I got to make the case that Minnesota at this point is like beyond saving. It needs a hard reset. It needs a hard reset. And I'm sorry to the conservatives who are still stuck in Minnesota. If that is you, I'm sorry. I won't call for the whole state to implode, I guess, but that would be a hard reset. I don't know what I'm saying. It'd be one of the ways. But when you look at the headlines coming out of the state, you start thinking more and more like this just may be irredeemable at this point, this entire state. I don't know what like mind rot has gotten into it. I don't know if it's in the water. I don't know what exactly it is that's gotten into the state of Minnesota, but you guys are going to need a hard reset, shut down until we can figure out what the hell is going on. I want to start with Nasra Ahmed. You may be thinking to yourself, who the hell is Nasra Ahmed? Well, let me give you a more appropriate way of describing her. She's the bananas and rice lady.
So I'm Somali. I'm proud to be Somali. To me, being Somali isn't just eating bananas with rice.
Okay, what is it?
It's a lot. It's like
What?
Tell
me.
It's an interesting thing. It's very hard to describe what it means to be Somali and what it means to be American, but it's like a cultural fusion. It's kind of like the bananas and rice.
Oh, wait.
People don't really see people don't think, oh, you can eat bananas with rice, but that's what it's like to be Somali and American. It's like that combination of banana and rice, but you're gonna get what I mean.
You're gonna get what I mean. Duh, it's not like bananas and rice. It's just like bananas and rice. Now, I'm not just replaying that clip for the hell of it. She was actually just arrested. Yeah, it turns out she was in a group of 16 people who allegedly assaulted federal law enforcement. And she herself, they said that she attacked and spit on an officer. So I guess now we do have a more appropriate description of what she means by Somalians are more than just bananas and rice. They're also just criminals. So they can add that. So next time she goes and stands on a podium, in front of a podium, and tries to like struggle with what Somalians actually represent, she can add criminals to the repertoire. Now, the beautifully ironic part about her story is that the only reason that she was at that press conference where she had the Band-Aid on her head was that she said that ICE illegally detained her and gave her a concussion. Now, she also went to the extent of like trying to fundraise $20,000 for medical bills. Now, I'm not sure how one Band-Aid cost $20,000. I'm pretty sure I've never had a concussion, so you guys correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like it's not just like a simple Band-Aid. I'm not sure that the Band-Aid is really selling the concussion. And again, if you could just explain to me why the Band-Aid cost $20,000. Oh, that's right. Maybe it was Obamacare. So you've got this chick who's like talking about bananas and rice representing Somalians. And then she's like, please let me fundraise off of my Band-Aid head, my light bulb Band-Aid head. And $20,000 mysteriously don't know where it went. And then you have her actually it turns out she's actually spitting on ICE officers and attacking them. That might be a reason that they would physically confront you back. And then another thing interesting about Minnesota and what's happening is the Ilhan Omar case. You recall, she had the attacker who was like, pew, pew, with the apple cider vinegar. I wonder if it was the kind with the mother load. Those of you who are Maha people will understand what I mean. Stephen, do you recognize?
I did.
Verbiage. I would like to know if it was the high quality with the mother load in the bottle, but I digress. Okay. The little pew-pewer with the Ilhan Omar case where he squirted all the apple cider vinegar on her. It's interesting. He was quietly released from custody today. Okay, he was originally booked in the Hennepin County Jail, today released to a U.S. Marshal. Now they're saying the severity of his charge is a felony because the DOJ hit him with federal charges, but no court appearance has been scheduled. And as far as I've seen, the criminal complaint was not written by Ilhan Omar. It was someone else. And remember when I told you, if that is true, remember that I told you yesterday that if she actually signed her name to a criminal complaint that she was falsifying and people found out later, she could be charged with something. So that is very interesting that my friend Brianna Morello was reporting on. I found that very strange, actually. And it's also worth noting, speaking of Ilhan Omar and fraud, Ilhan Omar's wine company that Benny Johnson just exposed as like, hey, they're looking into her because she all of a sudden had a 3,500% increase, 3,500% increase in her net worth within 2 years. And she has this weird wine company that doesn't actually go anywhere. And once that got exposed, it immediately got scrubbed from the internet.
Up until yesterday, Benny Johnson was able to find their supposed inventory bottles and all the things they had, their office location, and a bunch of other information on the business. But as of today, those sites are totally shut down. And any mention of their website has been wiped off the internet. I'm talking gone.
Whoopsies.
The Wayback Machine, all these other crafty little archive sites, everything is gone. Like deleted the root service. I called my computer buddy Jim. He couldn't even find it. It was some fancy AR jargon bot machine for recovery. I don't even know, he was explaining it to me. He couldn't even find it.
I love that he just said my computer buddy Jim. I called my computer buddy Jim. He couldn't even figure it out. Now, this is very strange for a company that just ballooned in value to at least $1 million in a single year. Where are the vineyards? We don't know. Like, where are the grapes? Where are the vineyards? Where are the bottles? We don't know. We start asking questions, or Benny Johnson does, and all of a sudden, poof, like it never existed. Why would you blow up $1 million business if there weren't something weird happening? And remember, that's in addition to all the other weird fraud related allegations that seem to surround Ilhan Omar. Did you marry your brother so he could be in this country? That's illegal. Did you participate in all of these fraud schemes, stealing taxpayer money with all of your buddies that, like, all of them around you who are being convicted of this, you have curious ties to? And now all of a sudden your quote $1 million business totally scrubbed from the internet like it didn't even exist. Again, curious things going on in Minnesota. It seems the whole state. I understand you conservatives are going to be like, don't call me irredeemable. You're not. It's just like, what the hell is happening in your state? What the hell is happening in your state? Especially when you consider Minnesota. Remember, Tim Walz dropped out. Well, Minnesota, you guys have a new hero, a new white savior coming to the rescue for all of the Somali fraudsters. Amy Klobuchar has announced a Minnesota governor bid after Walz ends re-election run amid massive fraud scandal. Oh, great. Awesome. Just what everyone was asking for is she couldn't figure out that, like, hey, we're just not that into you at the presidential level. Honestly, she might be the best that they've got in Minnesota. I guess we'll find out. But like, oh, goody, another liberal Karen to screech about not removing the Somali fraudsters and criminals from their community. Great. Now, I will say it might be kind of fun watching all of the moments from her campaign. She had a lot of cringeworthy moments during the presidential campaign. Remember, she launched her campaign in a blizzard. All of the snow. They couldn't figure out how to provide her any sort of cover for the snow. And the president, well, not president then, but now President Trump, like, trolled her epically for it. And she actually went around I don't know if you guys remember this. She went around the campaign trail, and this was like her zing. She had a zinger, guys. It was a crowd pleaser for the Democrats. And this was what she went, all of these stops. She went, and this was the epic moment in all of her stump speeches. Watch.
He sent out a tweet. He made fun of me for talking about climate change in the middle of a blizzard, and he called me Snow Woman. So I wrote back, hey, Donald Trump, the science is on my side, and I'd like to see how your hair would fare in a blizzard. So I wrote back, hey, Donald Trump, the science is on my side, and I'd like to see how your hair would fare in a blizzard. So I wrote back, Donald Trump, the science is on my side, and I'd like to see how your hair would fare in a blizzard.
Sometimes, if you haven't noticed, you use a little humor. Like when he called me Snow Woman at my announcement in the middle of that thing, I wrote back on Twitter, I'd like to see how your hair would fare in a blizzard. So I wrote back,
gets
hey,
better and better.
Donald Trump. So I wrote back, hey, Donald Trump. So I wrote back. I tweeted back. The science is on my side. And I'd like to see how your hair would fare. And I'd like to see how your hair would fare in a blizzard. How your hair fares in a blizzard. And I'd like to see how your hair would fare in a blizzard.
Thanks. Now I want to jump off a building. So I wrote back on Twitter, hey, the science is settled. The science called. It's science. I'd like to see how your hair would fare in a blizzard. Ha! Got him. That's what you're going to have to listen to, Minnesota. This is why that's why I'm telling you it may be irredeemable. Do you want to listen to that? Do you want to listen to that for the entire campaign season? That's why I'm making this case, okay? Now, on top of all of that, the left's new martyr, Alex Pretti. You guys are going to be shocked to hear this. It turns out there was more to the story. It turns out that this lie that the left was peddling, that he was just an innocent, peaceful protester. In fact, did you hear that he was an ICU nurse? He was a hero, actually. Oh, it turns out he wasn't just some peaceful protester after all. There was new footage that was discovered of him. This was 11 days before his death. Look, he just spit on an ICE agent, kicks their vehicle in, the whole light comes off. And then they had to get out and subdue him. Obviously, he's breaking the law. You can see in this footage, he had the gun at that point too. I guess the agents didn't spot it, so there wasn't the chaos knowing that there was an armed individual that was creating a physical altercation with them. Now, there was also another angle with the moments leading up to this where he's quite literally screaming at them to assault him. Watch. Wow. What a guy. Now, I would like to point out that if the Minneapolis police were actually interested in providing law and order, they would have been on the ground and they could have arrested him. And maybe he would have thought twice before showing back up. Maybe he would still be alive today. If Minnesota police had just done their jobs and arrested the actual criminals, helped ICE rather than left them to fend off all of these nasty rioters who are attacking them, as you just saw, Alex Pretti. What a hero. What a hero. So it's just like incredible to watch how quickly this leftist media narrative unravels. I want to show you how Jake Tapper from CNN reported on this incident before the video came out. Watch.
Sources now tell CNN that federal immigration officers have been collecting personal information about the people they call protesters and agitators in Minneapolis. That includes Alex Pretti before he was shot and killed by agents on Saturday. Apparently because Pretti had been involved in an earlier altercation after observing ICE agents, as he told a source, chase a family on foot. Pretti shouted and began blowing his whistle. And that's when, he says, or said, 5 agents tackled him. And one leaned on his back, leaving him with a broken rib. The source tells CNN that day he thought he was going to die.
That's why he showed back up and continued aggressively pursuing the ICE agents, because that's what every normal person does when they think they're going to die. They're like, I'm just going to go further. Next time, I'm just going to go further. Like, no, actually, he wasn't blowing his whistle. He was just committing, assault when he spit on them and then damaging their vehicle by violently kicking it. Yes, in fact, I don't even see the whistle in his mouth. He couldn't have the whistle and blow it because he was too busy yelling at them to assault him, right? Definitely not an agitator. Certainly not. No. Of course not. This guy was just a peaceful protester doing his duty to protect those poor, innocent Somali criminals and blowing his little rape whistle. Here's Ana Navarro from CNN.
They chose to, they killed the wrong guy, right? Because this is like the perfect guy. Alex Pretti is the guy you would want to date your daughter. The guy you would want your son to grow up to be. A decent human being who was serving humanity, serving sick veterans, who is, there is nothing that has been said about that man that isn't wonderful. And so they can't malign him. They can't malign him because we have the videos.
Yes, actually, we do have the videos. We do actually have the videos. There's nothing that anyone has ever said in their whole lives that is bad about this man. Only glowing coverage, 5 out of 5 stars, 10 out of 10 would recommend Alex Pretti. Everyone knows it. No one has ever had a problem with this man. Like, how in the world would you possibly know this, you absolute ghoul? It's just so incredibly dishonest. It is so incredibly dishonest, these people. Speaking of dishonesty, let me play you Elizabeth Warren's take.
Caring for people was at the core of who he was. He was incapable of causing harm.
What?
Alex carried patience, compassion, and calm as a steady light within him. Even at the very end, that light was there. I recognized his familiar stillness and signature calm composure.
I just love that all these lawmakers knew him personally, apparently. In fact, they were all best friends with him. I had no idea. They all knew him personally. Ana Navarro on CNN knows him. They all know his character. They're texting every day, I guess. They all really knew his character. They all knew he was actually an angel. Better than Jesus, even, apparently. Now, this probably is my favorite one. They wanted this guy as their martyr so badly. I want you to check out this clip from, I'm never going to call them MS now. It will always be MSDNC for me.
In the wake of another killing of a nonviolent bystander by ICE agents in Minneapolis. This time it was 37-year-old Alex Pretti, an ICU nurse who cared for veterans. Donald Trump and his cabinet, his administration, are demanding once again that you not believe your eyes and ears.
Not believe your eyes
for the sake
and
of our
ears.
country
Okay.
and our democracy, Americans in large numbers today are choosing to reject Donald Trump's lies and his administration's lies.
Donald Trump is lying. He's telling you not to believe your eye. Please, Donald, they're just full of lies. This man was a 37-year-old ICU nurse. He only loved veterans. He loved everyone. He was all sunshine and rainbows. And Donald Trump is the nasty meanie who's lying, except they were showing an AI altered version of Alex Pretti, and they made him cuter.
He looks less deathly.
He looks less deathly. They made him actually a little bit, I don't know, like not handsome, but he passes, I guess.
They did.
you know?
I mean, look, he's bigger. He's
Gave
got
him a
more
tan.
chest. Yeah,
Gave
I
him a
mean, like
tan.
he definitely made him more manly looking.
Yeah, they didn't want him to be. They didn't want him to go down as a martyr who looked like a gangly little soy boy. So they were like, we'll toughen him up a little bit. We'll give him a nice tan. We'll make him look like he could pass for Grey's Anatomy. It's like, wow, that is offensive. Like, you imagine dying for something, and like your own cause thinks you're too ugly to use as a martyr, so they facetune your picture. That's gotta sting. I don't know, Alex. Let me know. Anywho, make sure that you are subscribed to Sara Gonzales Unfiltered. Smash the like button and leave us a comment. Let us know if you think that Minnesota is irredeemable. Are they worth saving? Are they too far gone? I think we need a hard reset there. And make sure that you subscribe to our new channel, Sara Gonzales TX. We are doing quite the experiment over there. And please, just go over there. We'll share it with you soon. But in the meantime, we are releasing exclusives over there at Sara Gonzales TX on YouTube as well. Want to thank our sponsor of this segment, Joi Blokes. So a lot of women, I guess, I mean, you know, if you get old enough in age, I hear you hit a point where you don't feel terrible enough to see a doctor, but like you just don't feel the same. You're tired all the time. Your motivation is gone. And then you step on the scale and you're just like, whatever I'm doing, anything I try is not working. That is the problem that Joi Blokes was built to address. Those things aren't character flaws. They're actually symptoms. And more often than not, they're tied directly to what is going on hormonally. So they're going to start with real lab work and a long consultation with a licensed clinician who actually connects how you feel to what's happening inside your body. And then they can build you a real plan rather than a one-size-fits-all answer. So if you have brain fog, low energy, or a version of yourself that feels like a downgrade, let them address it. Stop guessing and start getting answers. Go to joyandblokes.com/Gonzales. Use code Gonzales for 50% off your labs, 20% off your supplements. Joyandblokes.com/Gonzales. Code Gonzales for 50% off labs, 20% off supplements. Speaking of being dishonest frauds, it just continues to shock me. I say this all the time. The left has no floor. They just get lower and lower and lower. And with particularly CNN, it's like I don't know if it's they have a quota of how many times they can try to gaslight the public. And they just have to try to meet that quota, and the quota just gets higher and higher and higher. But it's really incredible to watch. They held this totally not scripted town hall where members of the community could express their concerns to CNN and Minneapolis officials like Mayor Jacob Frey. And it turns out, I hope you're sitting down for this, guys. It turns out the people that showed up that were handpicked for questions. Would you look at that? They all turned out to be Democrat activists. Wow. So President Trump's comms director, Stephen Chung, did some digging, and they all totally random people. Turns out they've all donated to Act Blue. Isn't that incredible? Isn't that incredible? You pick all of these people at random, and they all donate to Democrat causes. Act Blue, the same Democrat PAC that tried to profit off of Alex Pretti's death. Remember, we showed you this text message that they sent. Alex Pretti is off the limit, or is the limit. end the operation, stand with us, donate $50 for a 200% match, because they've never met a terrible tragedy that they have not wanted to profit off of. That's the Act Blue that we're talking about. Isn't that, I'm sure it was total coincidence. I'm sure it was a total coincidence that all of these people just happened to be Democrat activists. Actually, kudos to Stephen Chung for finding that, for going through the trouble of like finding all of that. Actually, it probably wasn't that much trouble because it was just a simple search. But he said, this doesn't look right. I'm going to look into this. And with these people, it's always so easy to find if you just do basic digging, because they're too stupid to think through these things. And so you got to wonder at what point CNN is just going to be taken off the airwaves. I mean, it feels really, really dire with CNN. Especially, I mean, you have CNN and all of this left-wing media. I played you a clip from MS Now earlier, and I said I'm never going to refer to it as MS Now because it's not what it is. They think that just changing the last 3 letters in their logo is going to make people forget that they are total hacks who actually avoid telling the truth. They don't want to tell you the truth. They're not interested in the truth. It's just all of them. Speaking of irredeemable, talking about Minneapolis and Minnesota, these outlets are so irredeemable. They're actually they're paying other people to come on the air and spew wild conspiracies. They call us the conspiracy theorists, by the way, just based off of absolutely nothing. It's just living in their mind rot brains. And they just go out there and broadcast to the 5 people who are still watching the CNNs of the world.
Furthermore, there's a reason why we have not seen a resurgence of the Proud Boys. And that is because I believe a lot of them are likely made ICE officers. Again, I've said this on the show before, I've not seen any deep dive reporting into who these people are, but they certainly adopt a lot of the ideology, a lot of the tactics, a lot of the violent tactics, a lot of the wearing masks, and it sounds a lot like their founder, what they initially put out.
So kidnapped. Did you just say ICE officers are militia?
Yes, have you not been paying attention?
Yeah, I
they
think
certainly
you're
mirror
stretching
the
a little
Gestapo.
bit. That's very.
I don't think I'm stretching anything. I think we have seen what we have not seen. What we have not seen are gang members committing violence. What we have seen are ICE agents kill people.
But Tiffany, you're saying that based. You're just making a supposition here. There's no concrete evidence.
She's like, don't want to get sued.
You gotta be careful. That's way
there was some supports. There
was some men and women serving the government.
We have seen white supremacist tattoos
risking their lives, serving the government.
Risking their lives, they're taking lives.
You're calling them Proud Boy militia. Did you say that?
It's just something she just concocted in her tiny little mind. Actually, maybe the reason why we don't see the Proud Boys anymore is that they all joined ICE. They all went to joinice.gov and they all got the jobs, and now they're just part of the Gestapo. Do we really have to keep doing this? Do we really have to keep doing this? I guess we do, because the Democrats are, you guys, I keep stressing the midterms. You don't understand all hell that is going to break loose if the Democrats gain power again, because all you have to do is listen to them, especially with regard to ICE, okay? They want to shut it down. They want to shut down the government right now over ICE. Do you think they're going to defund it if they get power again? From today, Senate fails to advance spending package after Democrats refuse to back DHS funding. U.S. government could see shutdown on Friday as Democrats stall funding bill over immigration enforcement reform. So now they are holding the country hostage once again. Once again, they're holding the country hostage, and it's always for the criminals. They've never met an illegal criminal that they didn't love. They've never met a criminal that they didn't love. They've never met, they are simping for the criminals as much as possible. Now, all of a sudden, they're going to threaten to withhold benefits that veterans get, the military gets. I know all the Democrat talking points anytime they want to blame a Republican for the shutdown. And now all of a sudden the Democrats are like, no, We are going to shut down the entire government if you don't tell those mean ICE agents to stop arresting the Somalian criminals. We love them. We want them to stay. Also, for a group that was so obsessed with masks in 2020, I don't understand why we are like obsessed with saying that ICE agents are not allowed to wear masks. I thought wearing a mask was just safe. Especially when they don't know where these Somalis have been. These are illegals. These are illegal criminals. We don't know where you've been. We don't know what you have. Maybe they're just masking for their safety, which they are, of course, because people are doxing their families. Like, it's actually nuts that this is even happening. By the way, Stephen Colbert is just as ghoulish as he ever was. Here's what he said the other day about ICE.
Bavino went on complaining.
Look, Dana, they're trying to portray Border Patrol agents and ICE agents as Gestapo, Nazi, and many other words.
Yes, do not compare ICE or Border Patrol agents to the Nazis. That's an unfair comparison. The Nazis were willing to show their faces.
Actually, let me tell you why the Nazis were better than ICE. That's the point that the Democrats are at now, guys. They are actually publicly saying, let me tell you why the Nazis weren't as bad as the federal law enforcement agency whose literal job is to come in and apprehend illegal criminals. And by the way, spoiler alert, they're not illegal because they're Jewish. They're illegal because they came to this country illegally and then committed more crimes. I know you guys have seen it. They show us the people who are in Minnesota who ICE is trying to apprehend. These are not good people. I'm not talking about someone's abuela. I'm talking about child predators. I'm talking about violent assaulters. I'm talking about, by the way, even the ones who are just committing all of the fraud, they're stealing from taxpayers. These are not good people. And somehow the left's response is to say, let me tell you why the Nazis were better people. Do you want them taking control of either chamber of Congress? We're going to hear about impeachment all the time. They're going to try impeachment. They're going to defund ICE. Like, the Republicans are sitting around twiddling their thumbs. The Republicans have their thumbs up their asses doing nothing while they have power. Do you possibly think that that's what the Democrats are going to do? Of course not. They're going to jam as much shit as they can down our throats. We have to be ready to combat them at the ballot box. I'm just telling you guys, I don't want to wait until it's too late. We have got to get out the vote, or else there's no more America First agenda, because they're just going to stop him at every stop. And I'm really concerned that the Republicans who are in charge are asleep at the wheel. They're just going to continue to do nothing, continue not to codify President Trump's agenda. And then we all know what the Democrats do when they get just a sliver of power. All right, make sure that you're subscribed to Blaze TV. You can save some moolah with promo code Sara. Save $20 with promo code Sara over at blazetv.com/Sara. As you all know, the 2020 election was, in fact, it will go down in history as the safest and most secure election of all time, actually. Like, of all time. From the time when we started voting up until the point that we all go to be with our creator, the 2020 election will always go down as the safest and most secure election. Joe Biden was more popular than Barack Obama. 81 million people voted for an actual vegetable, which is interesting because though the left will parrot those talking points, the FBI just executed a search warrant in Georgia to gather evidence and ballot boxes over the 2020 election. So the FBI searches Fulton County Elections Office as it investigates alleged voter fraud. So they went to the Fulton County Elections Hub, the operations center in Georgia, and they were reportedly on the scene extracting records for over 12 hours. The warrant cites federal election laws and authorizes the seizure of Fulton County ballots, tabulator tapes, ballot images, voter rolls, and electronic data from the 2020 election. What? Wait. What? You mean to tell me that there was funny business that could have been going on in Fulton County? The same place that President Trump was charged, indicted over saying, I need you to find me the votes because I know that they're there. This is weird. And we were like, oh my God, what are you talking about? Voter fraud doesn't exist. That's not a thing that happens. It literally never happens. There's never been a case of voter fraud anywhere that you can ever point to. That's a myth. That's a right-wing conspiracy theory. It actually has never been done. Well, that's such an interesting thing to say, because if that's the case, I'd like to know why the FBI was allowed to go in, because as much as the CNNs of the world would like for you to think that this is just a Gestapo that President Trump is running. No, Kings, this is just a dictatorship. No, actually, the FBI can't do that. They can't just go in and seize all of these things, seize all of this evidence. They need permission from a judge to get that warrant. So a judge said, okay, U.S. District Court reviews it, has to find probable cause. And that is when the criminal search warrant is issued. So Fulton County, Fani Willis, you guys have some explaining to do. Now, this was important note here. This was a comprehensive evidentiary sweep by the FBI, not just like this tiny little narrow inquiry. And the timing is very interesting, folks. It's pretty unusual to launch an investigation 6 years after an election unless there was new evidence that they received. This is all very curious, guys. Now, President Trump, of course, he did what he likes to do. He likes to add fuel to the fire, let's be honest. And I love that about him, personally. I know there are a lot of people who don't. I actually love that. I think that it's a very charming attribute of President Trump that he loves doing this. And so he shared a video on Truth Social showing a highly suspicious footage. This is back in 2020. This is footage of a Georgia election center back in 2020.
Surveillance footage obtained by Voter GA appears to show large numbers of ballots being scanned multiple times. Pay attention in the tape we're showing you to the woman wearing yellow at the desk. According to Voter GA, she slides ballots into a scanning machine, removes the ballots, and then reinserts the same ballots. This happens multiple times. The question is, how many times were those ballots counted? Was each vote counted more than once? Fulton County won't answer that question. Now, one way to know the answer would be to check what are called audit tally sheets.
You guys remember? You remember the weird circumstances that we weren't allowed to talk about, and you definitely were not allowed to talk about an actual voting machine. You get sued into oblivion if you ever said that the voting machines were not secure. So are we going to finally get answers in what we are supposed to say was the safest and most secure election of all time? Remember, you have to say that at a time where CNN in 2020 accidentally caught a lady stuffing a ballot box.
The only ballot drop box in Cuyahoga County, Ohio. You can see this woman right here casting her vote. Did you vote for Reagan or Jimmy Carter? Carter, okay.
Oh.
We don't want to get too personal with people here, but
That's
you can
a lot
see
of.
there's
Wait.
actually a traffic.
He's like, whoa, we don't want to get too personal with people. We don't. Whoa, if you could pan the camera over just a smidge, we don't. That's quite a lot of ballots that this woman is stuffing into this ballot box. Oh boy, who did you vote for? Oopsies. The jig is up. Oopsies. We all know what you guys did. Which honestly, Stephen, I feel like I have PTSD from just watching clips from that time where everyone was wearing those stupid ass masks covering that he's like speaking into the microphone wearing like, it still bothers me when we did that. Oh,
Yeah,
we didn't do that.
It's so stupid every time I see that. I can't believe it. And then I see clips from our stuff from 4 years ago, and I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot we were doing normal shows.
We were just doing normal things. We weren't wearing the masks. We pulled our kid out of school because I was like, yeah, we're not doing that. But there he was in 2020 when the Democrats decided, and Republicans, by the way, that it was too dangerous to go vote. We must set up mail-in ballot boxes. What could possibly go wrong in the safest and most secure election of all time when we nominated a vegetable? That was a thing that this country did. I mean, we did it to ourselves in some cases. Why would you ever think that that would be a good idea to do? So now we might be able to clear it up once and for all, which would be good if you are on the side of truth. Unfortunately for Democrats, and specifically Democrats in Fulton County, they don't like truth so well. And you would think if you had nothing to hide, you'd be like, sure, take the documents. In fact, I'll help you carry them out to your trucks because we have nothing to hide and we do everything on the up and up here in Fulton County. Well, it's interesting. This is the response from Fulton County Commissioner Mo Ivory.
If there's a question of are we going to take all legal action to make sure that, this, what I consider to be an assault on voters. This is an assault on your vote. So I think that, Marvin is an attorney, I'm an attorney. We are all trying to figure out what to do about this. But what we know is that does not even matter. We know in America right now, it does not even matter if what you are saying is the right thing. If our president wants to bring in the forces, he will, and he has.
I just can't understand how it's an assault on your vote if it's literally just double checking that that was your vote. But it's a Democrat speaking, so I won't waste too much brain power trying to figure that out. I'm not going to. Let's check in on Chairman of the Fulton County Board of Commissioners, Rob Pitts.
For the life of me, I still cannot understand the fascination about the 2020 elections, which occurred 6 years ago. That election is over with. That election has been reviewed, it's been audited, and in every case, every instance, we get a clean bill of health.
Was it? Is it over with? I mean, yes, but it just seems curious, right? Like that seems like a very defensive. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of my good friend Hari when I knocked on his door and I was like, hi, I'm looking for more information on Qubit's tech systems. And he's like, I called 911. Somebody is at my door and they are like threatening me. I'm like, whoa. All I did was ask about your business. Like, that's very defensive. Being very defensive very quickly is very suspicious, as it turns out. So if Fulton County, Georgia, has a clean bill of health with all of this, why not just let the investigation play out? Why do you care that it was 6 years ago? Who cares? What's the difference if it was 6 years or 6 months ago? If there was fraud in your election, wouldn't you want to know? If you care about democracy, as Democrats claim that they do, that's all they can talk about. That's like their favorite buzzword. Having safe and secure elections is pretty important to a democracy, which we obviously don't technically have, but if you want to buy into their talking point that they care about democracy, the power to the people, wouldn't you want to make sure? Like, let's double check. I don't know. Seems extremely suspicious to me. And I really would like vindication. I just would like some vindication. Obviously, we can't go back in time. We can't take away all of the vaccine mandates that Joe Biden implemented into this country and onto our military. And we can't take away a lot of the damage. I mean, the damage that he did to this economy, we are still feeling the ripples of. There's a lot that we can't take away. We can't redo, we can't undo all of the damage that Joe Biden did as president. But, I would like to know, for my own personal sanity, that this country was not stupid enough to vote for him the first time. I would like to know that. Although then you would probably have the Democrats who were like, oh, well, if Donald Trump was the rightful 2020 president, then I guess maybe his presidency now doesn't count and he doesn't get a read. You would expect the Democrats to come up with something. I, for one, would like some vindication on this issue. I would like to believe America never voted for that clown. I think we all know it. I just would like for it to be clear and official. All right, we've got more to come. Whoa, you are not going to want to miss the video that we have when we return. This one's going to be fun. I missed this video. Apparently, this was from a couple weeks ago. I never saw it, so I don't know if you did. But outside the Supreme Court, these people were protesting, and a reporter was asking them about the Supreme Court deciding the men playing in women's sports case. And this precious little princess, was very, very triggered by this reporter asking simple questions. Watch.
I think the problem arises when we have females that don't want to play sports against males, and after their objection, the males are still put on the team anyway.
We're not men. We're not males.
What?
You guys separate sex and gender, don't you?
Yes, of course.
So then you have to acknowledge that you're male? And
no, I will never acknowledge that. Never put those words in my mouth.
Male? Why?
Never put it in my mouth.
I'm not putting it. I'm putting it in my mouth.
Take it out.
Take it out.
Remember,
I am not male.
No, you're being
I am not. I don't give a. I am not male.
Out comes the demon.
Woman. What? Can I ask you what makes you a woman?
My mind. Even implying that I'm male is an insult, and it spits in my face and that of every other trans person in this place.
So I would argue that I think women would find it insulting that male people can say that they're women by flipping their ding dong off and getting facial surgery. I think you're being very rude.
Yeah,
I think I'm being very kind. I think he's being kind of aggressive, actually.
She!
You can leave.
Get the out of my face.
Okay, turn that off.
Leave.
Have a good time.
It's ma'am.
I just want you to understand how calm I've been this entire time and how terrible your husband is here.
I am her wife.
Uh-oh.
You worthless shrew. Get out of my face.
There you go.
He's not even good at his insults. Like, you worthless shrew? What are you, in 1800? You can't even come up.
You got her.
I got her. You worthless shrew. You old shrew. You're shriveled like a worthless shrew. Like, who talks like that? Oh. I know what it is.
Which is probably, I don't know.
Yeah, well, no, I think it was, the demon must have been from the 1800s.
They are old.
Yeah, so like.
Been around a long time.
Yeah, so that was what the demon, when the demon came out of the body, that was the thing that the demon thought of. Like, I'm not a husband, I'm a wife, it's ma'am. Sir, you're fooling literally no one. You just put like a scarf on your head and put some lipstick and called it a day. That's offensive, as it turns out. You can't just put lipstick on a pig. It is so incredible. I never thought that we would have to use that analogy. Like, yeah, you're not, no one is fooled. No one's fooled, sir. You're still a dude. You'll always be a dude. Deal with it and get some therapy while you're at it. It sounds like you really need it. Oh, and an exorcism.